You can see that we are talking of proportion time spent per day on unpaid care and domestic work. So the findings, we found that on average, women spent 18.7% on unpaid care and domestic work. That's, if you translate it into hours, it is 4 hours, 30 minutes, while men spent only 54 minutes. That is even below 1 hour, which is translated into 3.6%. So women spent 3 hours, 36 minutes more on unpaid care and domestic work than men. So if you take 4 hours, 30 minutes, subtract 54, you'll find that is the difference. So it means women are doing a lot of unpaid care and domestic work than men. If you take now by rural and urban, that is by residence, we found out that on average women spent per day 18.6%, which is almost the same as a national average. That is 4 hours and 30 minutes, while men only 3.4%, which is 54 minutes. If you come to urban now, you'll find that women on average spend 18.9% of time on unpaid care and domestic work, while men only 4%. If you come to the proportion of time spent per day on unpaid care and domestic work by sex and age, you'll find that girls or women aged 15 to 19 years spent 15.2%, which is 3 hours, 36 minutes per day on unpaid care and domestic work, while boys or men aged 15 to 19 years spent 4.2% per day on unpaid care and domestic work. If you come to elderly people who are 65% plus, for women the percentage is 12%, or 2 hours 54 minutes was spent on unpaid care and domestic work. For men it is 3.3%, that is for 48%. If now we come to the proportion of time spent per day on unpaid care and domestic work for working individuals, here we're talking of the ones who are working, we found that on average, women spend around 17.3%, which is translated to 4 hours to 12 minutes, while men spend around 48%, which is 3.3%. So working women spend per day 3 hours, 18 minutes more on unpaid care and domestic work than working men. So here you can see the proportion of time women spend per day on unpaid and care and domestic work by county. And you can see the lowest is Kilifi. The national average is 18.7, and the highest is 30.2. So the higher the percentage, the less the women are empowered. And the lower the percentage, the more the women are empowered. So you can see Marsabit had the highest and Kilifi had the lowest. So let's go now to the average time spent by the survey population on specific activities. So we have average time spent by day by broad level of activities, the ones we talked earlier. The first one, which is 65.4%, these are on other non-productive activities. So we spent around 65.4%, or 15 hours 42 minutes on non-productive activities. For those who spend on a system of national accounts, productive is 19.1%, which translates to 4 hours and 36 minutes. For non-SNA productive, we spent around 12%, which translates to 2 hours and 54 minutes. Those who spend on learning is 48%. If you come again by sex, the average time spent per day on broad activities, you find that for productive, for non-productive, that one for female is 63.5%, which is 15 hours and 12 minutes. No, for women, sorry. And for male is 16 hours and 12 minutes. So men spend more hours on non-productive activities. Then we have those on learning. For women is 42 minutes, and for male is around 54 minutes, which is around 1 hour. And for, I can't see the keys very well, so for non-SNA production, women spend around 4 hours, 42 minutes, while men spend 1 hour. And for SNA productive, female or women spend around 14%, which is 5 hours, 15 minutes, and men spend 5 hours, 54 minutes. Somebody help me, it's not moving. On average, time spent per day on activities by major division and sex, I would just talk on self-care, maintenance, the ones which have been circled. For the self-care and maintenance, I'm discussing about it because it took a lot of time. So for self-care, when it comes to female, they spend around 705 minutes. While for male, they spend around 710 minutes. Now I will go to unpaid caregiving services for households and family. I'll talk about these indicators because you can see the sex differential is very high. So for unpaid care services for household and family members, for female, it was around 35 minutes. And for male, was around 5. For unpaid domestic services for household and family members, for female, it was 242 minutes, while for male, it was 49 minutes. For the production of goods and for own personal use, female is 84, and as expected, male had 100 minutes, which is higher than the female. And for the employment and related activities, female had 117 minutes, while males had 252, and that one was also expected. So on the third indicator, that is the average time spent per day on specific activities by those who engage or participate in activities. As you can see, this is the first indicator is time spent per day by those who participate in the broad activities. And I will just go, you can see for the SNA on broad activity, for the survey population, which I earlier said for those who participated and those who did not participate, is 4.6 hours. But for those who participate in the activity, it has gone up to 6.2%. For the non-SNA productive survey population, it was 2.9, and this one went up to 4.2. For the learning, you can see it is 0.2 hours, while it is 6.3 for those who participated in the activities. Other non-productive, for the survey population, it was 15.5, but if you come now to those who participate in the activities, you'll find that it is the same. When it comes to time per day by those who participated on the broad activities by sex, you'll find that we found out that women, on average, women who spent their day participating on non-SNA productive is 5 hours, while women who spend on learning is 6 hours, and those on other non-productive is 15 hours and 12 minutes. If you come to SNA productive, that is for male, for those who participated on SNA, there were 7 hours, 24 minutes. Those who participated on an SNA productive is 2 hours, 18 minutes. Male who participated spent their day participating in learning, it was 6 hours and 30 minutes. And for the other non-productive is 16 hours and 12 minutes. So the last, or the fourth one, indicator is the proportion of persons in the survey population who participate in the specific activities. So on employment, we found that women who participated, on employment and other activity were 33.4%, while men were 54.1%. So women were about 3 out of 10, and men were around 5 out of 10. For those who participation rate in unpaid domestic and caregiving services, we found that women who participated in unpaid and caregiving services were around 92.4%. That is about 9 out of 10 women. And men, there were 38%, which was about 4 out of 10%. For women who participate in unpaid care services for household and family members, there were around 30.5%, which is about 3 in 10 women, and for men there were around 5%, which is about 1 in 10. So for those who participated in self-care and maintenance for both male and women, it was 100%. So in summary, these are the key findings. The first one, in the key findings in Kenya, the first one is that women, girls age 15 plus spent about 3 hours, 36 minutes per day more on unpaid care and care work compared to women or boys. Girls aged 15 to 19 years spent about 3 hours, 36 minutes per day on unpaid care and care work compared to men, boys of the same age who spent 1 hour. The elderly women aged 65 plus spent per day about 2 hours, 54 minutes on unpaid care and care work compared to the elderly men of the same age who spent per day about 48 minutes. Working women spend per day about 3 hours, 18 minutes more on unpaid care and domestic work compared to working men. Working women spend per day 3 hours, 18 minutes more on unpaid care and domestic work compared to working men. County analysis shows that Marsabit County recorded the highest proportion of time spent per day on unpaid domestic and care work by women, girls aged 15 plus. That is 30.2%, which is about 7 hours and 12 minutes per day, which is approximately 2.5 times than the national average, which is 12.2, which is also about 2 hours and 54 minutes. Other counties where women, girls, and girls aged 15 plus years spent a high proportion of time per day on unpaid care and domestic work are Wajir, Samburu, Mandera, and Garissa. And you'll find these are mainly ASAL counties. So what are the next steps? The Bureau intends to collaborate with partners to carry out the following activities. 1, dissemination of the survey results at the county and lower levels. 2, development of the policy, and this one is spearheaded by State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. 3, undertaking further analysis on the time use survey. 4, valuation of unpaid work, that is development of the household satellite account to measure the contribution of unpaid domestic and care work to the country's GDP. Thank you very much. Before I step down, I would like also to recognize the officers who were involved, the technical officers who were involved in the implementation of the survey. So could you please stand, including the directors, please. Just stand, please. Bowen, you're not standing and you're the key person. We have Samoe. So these are the ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director West. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention thus far. I wish to now hand over to our host, KNBS Director General, McDonald Obudo, out of protocol demands. Karibu DG.
Thank you so much, Madam Katunge, for the good work you've done together with your colleague. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten the gist of the report that has been shared by my colleague, Director Awes. And most probably those who are seated at the back, you might not have seen the slides very clearly. Don't worry. We are going to upload the presentation on our website once the launch has been done. And so you'll be able to interact with the document, with it more. Beyond that, of course, the report itself gives a lot of details of the findings. And when he presented, he only covered in a single slide the comparison of the situation of the counties. But I can assure you that the report has much more that is given at that level. Remember, our sample size was 24,000, which is big enough to give us county level estimates. So you'll be able to interact with the report beyond our sitting here. At the same time, he has also mentioned in his conclusion that we need to do further analysis of this report. For sure, there are certain things that you'll not be able to, or as we have collected the data, analyzed it, and reported it in the document, we are not able to understand why they are happening like that, particularly when you are comparing the situation at the county level. And so, statistically, we don't just jump in and say it is because of ABCD if that ABCD is not clear. So those are some of the areas where I would need to look deeply into them to get to understand why they are behaving the way we have found the results. So there is so much to be done. And of course, for the researchers, if you go to our website, you'll get a number of dissemination portals. And one of them called Canada, the Kenya National Data Archives, has the data. So once we have done a report like this, we'll also be able to upload the data on our website so that researchers can also interact with it much more and produce what is not printed. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would then get back to the program, and we have the key speeches that are to be made. And the first one will be will be made by our PS, State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. And at this point, therefore, I would welcome Madam Anne Wangombe to kindly share with us her remarks or speech. And colleagues, you don't need to be so sad. You know, some of you maybe fear figures, but this is the time that you really need to welcome Madam PS. You know, it is not many times, it is really not many times that we will have this kind of discussion and we have such powerful fellows with us. So I didn't hear of that. Can I get, thank you so much. I can do it. Thank you so much. Good, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Our chief guest, PS Economic Planning, James Mohati, my brother and my former neighbor. Yeah, he housed me at the Treasury building. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We have just listened to a very interesting report, and luckily it was led by a man, the soft-spoken man. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. And it's interesting to know that as a working mother, I do 3 hours, 18 minutes more than the other person. And I'm thinking that at the end of the day, I need to invoice him. Interestingly, I had the presenter talking about the non-productive hours for women. Do we have non-productive hours? If I'm not working, I'm sleeping. If I'm not sleeping, I'm working. And I sleep for less than 7 hours, actually less than 6 hours sometimes. Anyway, it is an eye-opener. And we are grateful to the people who have made it possible. DG and your team, asanteni sana. I am only 3 days old. Today is my 3rd day in the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. And I'm so glad that this report is being released at a time when I've just joined the State Department. It could not have been released at a better time. So I'm so grateful to you. I came from the State Department for Performance and Delivery Management under the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. And basically, we were dealing with many issues. Among them is performance contracting. So DG, I think this is one of your deliverables. You're doing well. So allow me to read this speech, considering that I'm relatively new. So today we gather here to celebrate a milestone moment. That is the launch of Kenya's first ever time use report. This report provides us with vital insights into the advancement of gender equality and the empowerment of women in all aspects of society. Time use surveys and statistics have a rich historical significance. During the early 1900s, they were instrumental in advocating for industrial policies and promoted a healthy work-life balance. Nowadays, these surveys have gained tremendous importance in measuring gender equality and overall well-being. They shed light on the unequal distribution of unpaid work between men and women and help us understand the economic value of this unpaid work. The Nairobi Forward-Looking Strategies for the Advancement of Women in 1985 highlighted the need to quantify the unremunerated contributions of women in various sectors. Subsequently, in 1995, the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing recognized and emphasized the importance of measuring and valuing unremunerated work as a means of acknowledging its economic impact. The United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women requires countries to provide periodic reports on progress made in eliminating discrimination. Collecting time use data would enable Kenya to respond accurately and comprehensively to this committee queries on sex roles, stereotyping, and employment. The Sustainable Development Goals include goal number 5, which emphasizes the need to recognize, reduce, and redistribute unpaid care work to promote gender equality. Women carry out unpaid work, leading to inequitable opportunities. Therefore, analyzing time use data becomes a powerful tool in driving policy dialogues and achieving a fair distribution of household and care-related tasks. Recognizing the minimal participation of women in key sectors, we are aware that the government has really done so much, especially in the area of trying to implement the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And it has come up with a number of initiatives, among them being the Women Enterprise Fund that falls squarely under Gender and Affirmative Action Department, community health promoters, cash transfers for vulnerable groups, among others, all aimed at supporting women and reducing their burdens. To formalize and advance recognition, reduction, redistribution, reward, and representation of unpaid domestic and care work, the Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts, and Heritage has developed a draft national care policy. This policy, shaped by time use data and the National Care Needs Assessment, will go through public participation, cabinet review, and finally parliamentary approval. So the launch of this report is quite important because it not only contributes to the national care policy, but also informs microeconomic, social protection, labor, migration, healthcare, and education policies. Time use data is a valuable tool for population trend analysis, understanding economic activities, examining labor issues, and providing evidential support in legal proceedings. This does not mean that we do not recognize the efforts that has been made by the government in trying to put more ladies in key areas of the government. At least we are aware, and you can attest to this, that this administration, led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, has included more ladies in the senior positions of the government. So we are thankful to our President. In conclusion, this report marks an important step towards greater awareness and utilization of time use statistics in policy making. We anticipate that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics will institutionalize these surveys and conduct them periodically to monitor progress. So let us all express our gratitude to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and all those involved in this significant effort. For now, allow me to invite our chief guest, my brother, PS for Economic Planning, Mr. James Mohati, to give his remarks. Let's be upstanding and give him a clap. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS. You can be seated. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the following. The representative of the Presidential Advisor on Women Rights, Madam Harriet Chigai, my colleague, Madam Anne Wangombe, thank you very much for making time to come and join us. And I want to take this opportunity to wish you the very best in your new role in gender. Of course, we have started missing you on the floor. They normally talk of a vacuum, which people cannot feel, but I'm sure where you've gone, you're feeling a vacuum there. So thank you very much for making time to come. I also want to recognize the presence of the Chairman of the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Board of Directors, Mr. Stephen Wainaina, and the entire board of KNBS, which is present here. Si munaweza kuinua mkono namna hii. Thank you very much for the good work that you're doing. We have some CEOs here. Maybe I would want to recognize first the CEO from the State Department for Economic Planning, who is responsible for the National Council for Population Development, Dr. Sheikh, who is also a board member of KNBS. I don't know if there's anyone representing Kipra here. Okay. And then, of course, the CEO, National Gender and Equality Commission, Madam Betty Sungura. Thank you very much for making time to join us. And the representative for the CEO for the Council of Governors, Ako. Okay. I want to move on to appreciate also the presence of our development partners, starting with the representative of the country director for the World Bank. I cannot remember her name, but I remember she has told us her experience in her first class of economics. She is left because of other exigencies of duties. The country director for UN Women, I think it was Himi. Yeah, thank you very much. And I think Precious is here from the World Bank as well. World Bank. Yeah, thank you very much. The country director for Oxfam, Sebastian. I think he's also left. Oh, he's here. Thank you very much, Mr. Tia. And all other development partners who are present here, all government officers are present, led by the State Department of Economic Planning. We have the director here, Wapi Nani? Timothy. Yes, thank you. Distinguished guests, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In Kenya, we normally say, habari ya asubuhi, habari yenu. Yeah. It gives me great pleasure this morning to preside over the launch of the 2021 Kenya Time Use Survey Report, which is the first of its kind to be produced in Kenya. Time use surveys provide comprehensive and detailed information on how individuals spend their time on different activities. These are both social and or economic over a specified period of time, either on a daily basis or a weekly basis, as we have seen from the report. Time use statistics were first produced in the earlier 1900s in the then developing countries of the world in social surveys, and mainly reported on the living conditions of working class families. The objective was to estimate the effect of long working days and hours and the short leisure time of industrial workers, which was then a concern for organized labor groups that wanted to advocate for a reduction in working hours. In recent years, time use statistics have gained importance among policy makers as they are able to give visibility to all forms of work. As you can be able to see, this report, this survey is really unbundling a lot of task issues behind time use. They also include remunerated and non-remunerated. It also puts in the spotlight the care economy, as we have been able to see, by enabling estimates of paid and unpaid care work, highlights the unequal distribution of unpaid work between women and men. It also helps to understand the contribution of unpaid work to the national economy. It also helps to improve the estimates of employment and, of course, cast light on the informal jobs, as you have seen, and illuminate the nature of poverty and human well-being. And I like the disclaimer the DG has given regarding this report, because we still need to study. We cannot be quick to arrive at conclusions from the statistics that we are able to see from the reports that we have been shown on the screens. Time use surveys thus are critical for designing policies for mainly inclusive growth, as they provide social, demographic, and related economic data not otherwise obtainable on human activity. I know we all have phones here, sindio? Mobile phones, and they are smart, sindio? Yeah, so I'm sure some of you get reports from your phones on how much time you've spent on your phone, okay? So when you talk about time use, that's basically what we are saying. And this technology is already out here, and that data is very, very critical. So when your phone tells you that today you spend 6 hours on the phone, so it's up to you to know now what to do with that statistics, isn't it? Yeah? Either you reduce the number of hours and then know where to spend those hours more, and so on and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is important to note that the launch of the 2021 Kenya Times Youth Survey report is unquestionably a notable milestone and a watershed moment for Kenya. Kenya is now joining other countries such as Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, Ghana, South Africa, Algeria, Mexico, Korea, Sweden, among others, which have conducted national time use survey. The production of the Kenya Time Use Survey report was motivated by the need to measure time spent on unpaid domestic and care work, the participation of women and men in system of national accounts, what we call the SNA, as we are being shown, and also the system of national account, the non-system of national accounts activities. Specifically, the report provides statistics on average spend on SNA, productive activities. When I say SNA, I say the system of national accounts productive activities. The non-SNA productive activities, this is for example, the unpaid work, and the non-productive activities such as learning, socialization, and communication, community participation and religious practices, culture, leisure, mass media, and sports practices. It brings into focus the unpaid domestic and care work, which is, in quotes, like Sebastian had mentioned, work that largely remains invisible and recognized and unaccounted for in decision making. I just want to pick on the issue, that part on the community participation and religious practices. I don't know whether you observed the outcome there. It shows that men are more religious and they spend more of their time on social activity You saw? Me, I always thought, and that's why I commend the DG for saying, let's not be quick to make conclusion. But now it has confirmed that men are more social and they spend more of their time on religious activities than women. It is worth noting that the report would provide baseline information for the development of household satellite accounts, for the compilation of the contribution of household production to the country's gross domestic product, to inform macro policies and strategies. I think this is in line, DG, with the other conversation on the issues around the natural capital that is on course in terms of being measured within the GDP. What this means then that probably there are a high chance, or there's a very major likelihood that as a country economically we could be doing better, but we are not able to measure or to be able to demonstrate that for it to be able to give us those bonga points that we need for recognition for other things in terms of our global relationships. So, ladies and gentlemen, the survey was implemented through a retrospective diary approach, as you've seen, which highlights the activities done in the last 24 hours preceding the survey. Based on the above approach, I think the following were the summary of the findings from the report, I think which have been shown there. That nationally, persons aged 15 years and above spend about 12% of their time, 12.2% of their time. This is equivalent to 2 hours, 54 minutes of a day on unpaid domestic and care work. And women spend about 18.7%, equivalent to 4 hours, 30 minutes of a day, while men spend 3.6%, equivalent to 54 minutes of a day on the same activities. I found that arithmetic of hours very, very interesting. For him, what he decided to do is to subtract the less time from the more time, and he said, you can see, this is the difference. But I was busy changing the hours into minutes, and then adding the 54, putting the 54 over the 216, multiplying by 100, to be able to get that men spend about 25% of what women do spend. Yeah, so the proportion of time spent on unpaid domestic and care work by girls between ages of 15 and 17 years is 3 times as much as that of boys, which is about 4.1%, equivalent of 1 hour of the same group. So very, very interesting, because then it then looks at, I mean, this is then, okay, we've been cautioned not to to attribute this to, so I'll stick there. I want to talk about the boys and the girls. Across all counties, women spend more time on unpaid domestic and care work compared to men. With the Marsabit County, as we have seen, these are the statistics we've been shown here. Marsabit recording the highest proportion of time spent by women on unpaid domestic care work, which is 30%, which is equivalent to 7 hours, 20 minutes. And Wajir, we've shown those counties, Mandera, Garissa, and so on and so forth. Yes, so this is very personal, because when we were looking at this, then would say, does this have anything to do with the literacy levels within those specific areas? But DG has said, let us not be quick to whatever, let us analyze more. So there's a lot more information in this report and statistics that has been shared with us today, and it's really a major milestone that, like I mentioned, for this country. So the statistics in this report clearly shows that unpaid domestic and care work disproportionately burdens women and girls. The findings are comparable to most of the time use surveys, which also have been done in other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, let me point out that the importance of time use statistics for gender equality is further emphasized by the Sustainable Development Goals. These are the SDGs, which places gender equality as a separate goal, as well as an accelerator for all other goals, as has been mentioned by one of the speakers here. The SDG goals, the SDG calls for all countries to monitor the SDG target number 5.4 on the recognition and evaluation of unpaid care and domestic work as a way to promote gender equality. Much of unpaid work is performed by women, often resulting in unequal social, economic, and political opportunities for them. Towards this end, the SDG indicator 5.41 collected in this survey will measure the portion of time spent on unpaid domestic and care work by sex, age, and location. This indicator will add to the 162 SDG indicators that Kenya is currently reporting in the National SDG Indicator Framework, whose progress is reported at the high-level political forum held every year. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I would like to reiterate the importance of the 2021 Kenya Time Use Survey Report in providing benchmark indicators against commitments outlined in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. The report is very timely as it will be used to monitor and evaluate progress made on key national priorities contained in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is geared towards promoting gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, both socially, economically, and politically. Some of the measures that have been identified by the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that relate to care work include, number one, ensuring deployment of the adequate number of skilled community health workers on a regular stipend paid through a cost-sharing framework between the national and the county government, and this is ongoing, as you are all aware. And number two, ensuring availability of clean, safe, environmentally friendly, and affordable cooking fuels. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to express my gratitude at this point to the World Bank, the UN Women, Kenya Country Office, and other partners for their technical and financial support provided towards the production of the 2021 Kenya Times Use Report. Finally, I also want to appreciate all the government institutions that have lent support and collaboration to work together with KNBS in undertaking the 2021 Kenya Time Use Survey and the compilation of the report. The State Department for Economic Planning commits to continue supporting the KNBS to be able to receive adequate financial resources to generate new and innovative evidence to guide planning, monitoring, and evaluation. I also want to congratulate the DG at KNBS, appreciate the technical team that has been shown to us here this morning, the board, on this very auspicious day for the launch of this report and for the efforts and the sacrifices that have ensured that this day has come to pass. Asanteni sana KNBS and it's now my humble pleasure to declare the 2021 Kenya Time News Survey Report officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana PS. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the part of the unveiling of the report. I wish to invite our chief guest, PS State Department for Planning, as well as Madam Betty Sungura, KNBS Board Chairperson and members of the board, KNBS DG, and the representative for the President's Advisor on Gender, kindly over here. Media, please take your position for the launch. Those who are handling the confetti, I hope we are ready. Let us have the first photo. Yes. Florence, right there, yeah. Bwana PS, yeah. Are we ready? Those handling the confetti? Bwana PS, yes. Kindly just uncover it to unveil it the kienyeji way. Right, great. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The 2021 Kenya Time Use Report, the first of its kind in the country. There you go. Thank you. Let's applaud kindly. Let us applaud that effort. Smiles, tafadhali. You'll be on tomorrow's dailies. Thank you very much. Let's have the second photo. Bwana PS, kindly, our chief guest, PS State Department for Gender, and KNBS board members, led by the board chairperson and the DG. Thank you. You guys, will you? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Let's have one more, Bwana PS, with the development partners, together with the PS State Department development partners, KNBS board chairperson, and the DG. KNBS board chair, yeah, thank you. And the DG, thanks. With the development partners, thank you. Thank you for that. You may now be seated. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. I wish to invite Director, Statistical Coordination and Methods, Mr. Benjamin Avusevwa for the vote of thanks. Please remain for the concluding announcements. Asante sana.
Announcements.